Welcome to the Ordinary Extraordinary Cemetery, where every death had a life and every life had a story. My name is Jennie Johnson.
Hello, and I'm Diane Hartshorn.
And we have a very special returning guest with us this evening. But before we get to her, we'll get to her in just a moment. We do want to remind folks, tickets for Beyond the Grave, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein are on sale and selling like hotcakes.
Yes, they are.
If you're planning to attend this event, it's at Evergreen Cemetery in Colorado Springs on October 4th and 5th. But you've got to get tickets sooner rather than later because those tickets are really selling fast this year.
Yeah, I don't think, we didn't have ticket sales this fast in the last
Not this early
years
on, but we have, I think, a lot of returning patrons coming back to us this year that have gone in the previous years, and they just know they're coming for a really good time and they're supporting a really good cause by coming to Beyond the Grave. So they're going to help with all of the preservation efforts that take place at Evergreen Cemetery that Diane is tirelessly working on.
Tirelessly working on. Yes.
I mean, you practically live at the cemetery now, so.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
I figure during the day, if I send her a message or anything, I'm not going to hear back until much, much later because you're in the cemetery. And also, you've surprised me recently. Like last night, you texted me and it was like 10 o'clock. You never texted me that late, which means you were, yeah. I was like, what is this? Not that I care, I'm up, but you're usually not.
No, I think I was probably in bed scrolling that I shouldn't have been.
I just thought it was funny that it popped up from you. If it were my friend Barb, I would expect it at 10 or midnight. But if it's you, I'm like 8 o'clock, you're pretty much done. So
yeah, pretty much.
I just thought that was funny. Well, today, so folks, the ticket link is in the show notes. It's also at the very top of our website. So if you go to the ordinaryextraordinarycemetery.com, the link is right there at the top. You just click it. You can get your tickets. We did change the size of our groups this year. So we reduced it from 20 per group to 16 per group, just to give everybody a little more elbow room when they're riding around on the hayride, make it a little more comfortable. But so that also reduces the number of tickets we have available from previous years. So if you're interested in coming, just make sure you go click that link, get those tickets, and then we will see you October 4th or 5th for Frankenstein. But today, this is the other exciting thing about today's episode. This is our 200th episode that we are recording today.
Oh my God.
I know. And so our guest today was on, I don't remember how early on you were with us the first time, but it was shortly after we started recording.
Pretty blessed early. It was
like
the 21st episode or something. I don't know why.
Something like that. It was so like, I was trying to look to see, because it was just so close to the beginning. And I don't remember exactly what number, but Kristen Allen, who is the founder of Bloombridge, was on right towards the beginning. So I think it's really exciting that you get to be on our 200th episode.
I do too. I think that's so great.
Yes. So what's fun about this is for our listeners who've been with us the whole time and have heard how we've changed things and seen how we've changed things with the visuals now that we have the YouTube stuff. You've heard about Kristen, you've heard about Bloombridge, we've talked about it, but now we get a good update and all the changes that have happened, all the exciting things that are happening with Bloombridge. And so, yes, welcome back, Kristen.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be back here. And you know what? There's probably some runners that are listening, because we've gotten a lot of runners and a lot of people that have called in and said, I heard about you from the podcast, and
that's so wonderful.
Yeah, awesome. It's great. It's like one big happy family. I love it.
That is so cool.
Oh, we love it. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, as soon as you said you could sign up for a runner, I had signed up. And if you're on YouTube with us right now, you can see pictures behind Diane and I. These are all different Bloombridge deliveries that I've been privileged to make over the last couple of years. And because we photograph them all to make sure that the people who are ordering the flowers know that their deliveries got made, I have records. So it's been great. I love doing it. Every time I get the notification that says, hey, we've got one in your area, I'm like, yes, I will deliver it. So
I love it too. I got one last night, actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just did one last week. In fact, the one behind Diane is the one I just did last week. And that was the first time I'd actually visited that cemetery. That's not a cemetery. I mean, we have a lot of them in our area anyway. So I'd never been to that particular cemetery. So that was fun to go to a new cemetery to me, and make a new delivery for somebody I hadn't done before. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that is fun. I love that too. I've never been to the one I'm going to be doing coming up, and I'm anxious and like, excited about getting to do it. It's my favorite thing. I don't ever get to do it, but when I do get the chance to do it, I'm like, yes, let me do it. Please get me out of the office.
Yeah, that too.
So for our new listeners who may be not as familiar with Bloombridge and what it is, why don't you let them know what the company is, what you guys do?
We started.
If you want to know the real big long backstory, I'll link the first episode with Kristen in the show notes today. But yeah, gives a little bit of background on what the company is and why it's so important that we're having you on again.
Bloombridge is a service. We provide a service and a product, but we are a service that you can hire us to put flowers at your loved one's actual headstone. So whether you're in California, Texas, Mississippi, whether you're 5 minutes down the road from your loved one, who's laid to rest in a cemetery, even in your hometown, we can put flowers at your loved one's headstone, and we can do it just a one-time purchase, or you can actually set up a subscription where we can do it however many times a year you would like us to do. I would say the average is about 4, like every 3 months, following the seasons, but you get to choose your arrangements that we have online, that are all custom done, and also you get to choose your date. So like anniversaries, birthdays, if you and your loved one shared just a special day that was special to you, we can get it there.
Yeah.
So
that's always important to me when I get the orders and I look at when it's due. Like I can look at the headstone usually and see if there's a date on the headstone that corresponds with the date I'm supposed to make the delivery, to make sure that I get those flowers there. Well, they will always be there the day that it's specified, but if I can get it there a little earlier, or in the cases of like this one behind me that's at Fort Logan, they have very specific days that they pick up flowers and stuff on after so long. So I try and make sure that I'm going to do it right after they've done a pickup so that those flowers are there longer after somebody orders them.
We get that a lot, actually. People will call in and say, well, what if, we can't have flowers out there at that certain time? And I feel like communication is absolutely the always the best in every situation. But we definitely will honor that, and we stand by our clients. We always want to do right by our clients. So let's just say, for instance, that does happen. I usually am the one that calls the cemetery just to make sure like we have all the facts straight and all that, plot map, so that our runners aren't, looking for a needle in a haystack. But and if that were to come up while I am talking, obviously we're going to call the client and we're going to say, hey, look, we can move it to this date. And if they decide not to do it, I mean, we'll absolutely we'll refund 100%. We also like that, like in cases where it snows, and sometimes like our runners are like, listen, we're trying, but this is a flat headstone and there is
you can't find it.
10 feet of snow on the ground, so we're going to always do everything we can to accommodate our clients. It's there's a fine line. That's what I tell our runners too, that this is not DoorDash. This is some
no, this is so much better.
It is so much better. And it is someone's loved one, and we have grown. I mean, we're in every state in the United States, and which is fantastic. But I feel like, and Jennie, I feel like you could agree with this maybe, or give me your opinion. We still have that hometown feel, and we won't.
Truly.
Yeah, that's important that we don't ever lose that. And because that's who we are. That's who I am.
Well, for instance, this last delivery I made, unfortunately, and we don't know what happened, but the first time the flowers got sent out, somehow they got stuck somewhere in the postal system.
Yeah.
And so I actually got a text from you guys and was like, hey, have you received these? And I was like, nope, I haven't received them. And I knew the deadline was coming up too. And she's like, okay, we'll send them out. Like 2 days after that, I got the flowers that you resent. So you remade the bouquet, repackaged it, resent it. It came really quick. And so I was able to send a text, and it was probably 10 o'clock at night because it was after I'd gotten home for the day and everything. But I sent a text and I said, hey, I just want to let you know the flowers are here and I will get those delivered right away, because I was trying to make sure we got them for the deadline. Unfortunately, we're.
Was like you.
But it just made me feel so good that on your end,
Uh-huh.
because, for your group down with you, that's working directly with you, you're the only one I've ever met, but like that I can text them or they can text me and say, hey, there's a problem, let's fix
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely.
And it's immediate. I like that.
Yeah, so I feel like we have like a hometown personal feel with not just our clients, but with our runners too. I mean, I'm always like, even if it weren't you, like I mean, I feel like you and I have a friendship now, but if it
True.
weren't, I mean, I talk like that to all my runners. I'm, hey, like we're a team. We can't do this without you. Like you're a very important piece to Bloombridge, and I hope that we show that. I hope that everybody feels that, because that is the truth. I mean, we couldn't do it without our runners. It's so, that's the most important part, and a lot of we also are like really understanding and know that life happens, and as long as you communicate that with us, like, because things like that, I'll never forget when we first started this, how naive I was.
That's how we all started these projects.
Just all like full of rainbows and unicorns I was, and and I'll never forget my partner Justin saying to me, Kristen, if it can happen, it's going to. I was like, oh, don't be so negative, like we gotta. I was a cheerleader, like Miss Positive, and I'm still that way. But I remember that did not click, register with me when he said it, because I didn't understand, and now I understand. And so we as long as like we understand that life happens, and as long as we communicate that to our clients, they're 9.5 times out of 10 so understanding, and but and I've also had to write some emails I didn't want to write, but that's just a part of the business. Right. So but yeah, I mean, everything is moving along and growing, and it's good. I mean, we're doing something good,
Yes.
so
that's why you're succeeding.
Yeah. So
well, and I don't know about other runners, but I know for me personally, it's definitely, I feel like it's a privilege and an honor to be able to make these deliveries to these loved ones' grave sites. And I don't know the story about why I'm the one making the delivery. Maybe, like you said, you can do it from your hometown and be living right up the road from the cemetery, but a lot of people have trouble visiting a cemetery for various reasons or whatever. So I think it's always an honor to be able to be the one to go to the gravesite, clean it up, put the flowers on it, say a little prayer, and just tell them, somebody's thinking about them and loving them. So it's always, I love that part of it.
I do too. And that's the connection part of it.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't know, the way it's done, it's very like, I don't know who the people are that I'm delivering for. I just find the grave. So it could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be anybody who's chosen to have flowers delivered. The other thing you guys are really good at is you always check to make sure we can do it. Like, and for me, I've gone to some cemeteries that are further out, but I'm willing to go, for me personally, within a 2-hour radius of my home. So right. I don't know if all runners can do that. I am just willing to do that, and I will make it happen. But there was one particular instance, I think it was last year or the year before, where I got a delivery for a very sensitive grave, and I got a text after I accepted it, and said, and I don't remember if it came from you, Kristen, or somebody else, we would totally understand if you choose not to do this. And I was like, wait, what? So I went and looked it up, and it was a child's grave, and it was a very tragic situation that had happened. And I was like, oh no, I'm definitely going to do this. Because my heart just, when I read the story, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this.
Mhm.
That was one of those times though where I did have to actually go to the cemetery office and get their help because it was covered in snow. But and I was in this section, but like all the flat headstones, like so many newer sections have, I was like, I need a shovel. And fortunately, the lady at that cemetery was wonderful. She brought out 2 shovels, and the two of us together started like clearing graves. And
Oh,
we
that
were
is so
like,
cool.
found it. We were so excited. She was excited too, because she's like, yeah, we've never had to do this before, but she was all excited to help me, and it was great. And we found the grave, and I was able to leave the flowers, and I just felt like it was such a privilege to be able to do that for this little child that, did not get a chance at life, unfortunately. And so being able to be the one to do that was really special to me.
I
That's
remember.
so cool.
I do. And I'm even floored by myself that I can remember it, so many of the headstones. And see, I'm the one that does all the research, like calling the cemetery and making information is in there. So I have a photographic memory anyway. So like I may not be able to remember the name, but like I'll remember the story because it's hard. Sometimes it's hard for me not to go down rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
reading, and especially like Lulu and Jeremy, we work very closely together, and they always laugh and say, "You're like the grave whisperer," because we're like lost in the cemetery, and they're like, "Let me call Kristen," because I don't know what it is, but I can get them there, like sometimes it just takes me even being on the phone with them. It is, and anyway, so the fact that I can remember a lot of them and remember the stories and stuff, I kind of surprise myself with that my brain will hold all of that. But I love it, like I love the stories, and I love people. People are interesting, and so we've gotten a lot of interesting orders. Like we just had an order delivered to like Jeffrey Dahmer's first victim.
Oh,
We just
wow.
know like Al Capone, and what was his
Oh, that's
buddy's
cool.
name?
He had a couple of them.
Gotti, is it John Gotti, or is he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not John Gotti, because John Gotti is more recent.
No, so Al Capone, and see, now I'm forgetting.
But one of his buddies.
Yeah, Bob Barker. I mean, we just, all kinds of celebrities, and known wide,
Yeah, infamous.
yeah,
That's kind of fun. That's fun that you guys have been able to
it
deliver
is.
to some more well-known graves like that.
Yeah, it's we've had orders from like I think 17 other countries now.
Wow, that's
Wow.
fantastic. That is so cool.
No, the cool people ask me like, okay, what is the best part? And there's so many. But probably the best part is getting those phone calls from the runner, or those emails. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you, like I needed this. I haven't felt,
Aw.
close to my mom in so long, and then the other part is getting phone calls from the runners, and they're like, man, that was awesome. When you have grown men calling, and they're like, man, like, I don't know what just happened, that I, I don't know them and they don't know me, and I wasn't on good terms with my mom when she passed, and now I'm like found myself at my mom's,
Oh, I love it.
and like, I've like found forgiveness, and I'm just like, man, like,
Yeah, you're doing
it's
something very, very special. This is why from day one, when Jenny first, told me about it and what you were doing, and then your story is, and you haven't stopped.
No, I'm not going to.
I mean, it has grown. It has grown and grown and grown and grown and grown. There has been no lulls for you at all, which is
It's
incredible.
the hardest thing I have ever done in my entire life. It's also, besides obviously being a mom, my children are, you know, but beside that, like, it is also the most rewarding thing I've ever done. And I don't mean financially, because girls, we're in the eye of the storm. This is real talk. Like, this is business. And if you don't have guts and glory, like, being an entrepreneur is not from you. Not
Nope.
because I am the brokest I have ever been. But I am doing it, and it feels so good. I've learned so much about myself, and that right there to me is priceless.
I was going to say it's priceless, but
It
it
is,
sounds so cliche, but yes, it
but
is.
and God has just found a way to make it work. And I mean, like I said, it is the hardest thing I have ever done in my entire life. But knowing how much joy we're bringing other people is totally worth it. I mean, I'll be having a bad day, and then I'll get a phone call, and I'm like, yeah, like that. Doing what we're doing, and I needed that, like those little God winks, you know. I mean, it's just, and I've become friends with runners, and gosh, I have clients that, like, look, I need 10 of me, because I've, like, you know, formed all these like personal relationships. But you can't help it. You you fall in love with them, you know, and you care, and I know that they feel that from me. I hope they do. And you know, if so and so has got an order, and I'm like, oh, that's Mr. Joe, you know, let me call Joe, you know. Joe calls me on my birthday. And,
Aw.
you know, and because it's intimate, like they're sharing something with you, and you don't forget that when somebody is vulnerable enough to, like, tell you about their loved one that's not here anymore physically. You don't forget that, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
So you
Yeah, and this is where, like, what we do, we tell people stories, but we're telling stories that are much further back in history. So while it still evokes emotions, and we still, Diane and I either get excited or sad or mad or whatever for the story, it's not the raw emotion of some
Right.
of these for what you're doing. Because some of the, like, when I started making the deliveries to the grave where I'm in the picture here, that was shortly after that person's death.
Right,
And so it was still very raw to their friends and family that, they had been buried and had passed away. And I think, and having started with that one, I mean, I think I might be the only runner that's been delivering to that particular grave since they started it. But I always feel really glad that I can be there to do that for
mhm,
them, because they're going through the grieving process now. And for
right,
some people, it lasts a long time. So it's
forever.
nice. Yeah.
Forever. Yeah.
And
So it's,
when we started this, I really thought that would be the case, right? Like, where um it would be newer. But Jennie, y'all, I'm telling you, I am sometimes, like, shocked at how many orders we get for graves, and or for, their loved ones that they didn't know, like back in the 1800s, like 1700s. I mean,
oh, I think that's awesome.
I think it's fabulous. And I know myself too, like, I know that once I go down that rabbit hole of putting flowers on my grandparents' grave and great grandparents, I wouldn't stop either. You know, I mean, I get it. But we are always amazed at how far back um people really do go. I didn't really anticipate that when we first started this. And it
That's
happened.
so awesome.
It doesn't. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it happens more. I mean, it's a regular thing.
Well, I do see. So recently, I don't remember which Facebook group I was in, but there was a woman who was trying to locate the grave of her, it was either her mother's or her grandmother's sister who had died as a child. She knew what cemetery they were in, but she'd never seen a picture of the gravesite. her mom had regretted not ever being able to visit her or whatever. So she was trying to find it. And a bunch of people were like, oh, yeah, in the town where they were, and they found the grave and they took pictures of it for her and they sent them to her, which was great. And then I popped on there and I was like, hey, there's this organization called Bloombridge. And if you want to put flowers on her grave now, you absolutely have this option, because somebody in the area will be able to take flowers for you through Bloombridge. And so I'm hoping that, she was all excited to learn about you guys, and I had sent her the website link and everything, but I was like, it was one of those situations where she never knew this person, but she'd heard about the person growing up and knew her mom's regret at not ever visiting this grave. So the fact that she could actually make it happen now, I think really excited her and made a connection maybe with her mom that she'd been longing to make.
Well, what
Jennie,
a
you're
neat
gonna
thing
get me
for
that.
genealogists.
Oh, right. I
Oh
know.
my gosh. I never thought about that until, usually, like you say, it's usually the maybe an anniversary of a closer family member, but not somebody possibly several generations back. And that is such an amazing idea.
I'm with you. I feel you. I get it too. It's amazing. Jennie, you're gonna have to get me the name of, if you can look back and see, because I think that I remember talking to Kitty that the story that you just told, that's like dinging something in the back of my
Yeah.
head.
It was just one of those things. Well, and it was one of those things where, again, this was in one of the cemetery Facebook groups that I belong to, or that we belong to as a podcast. And I just remember reading the story. But the other thing that impressed me is it was, she said, here's who she is. This is where she's buried. I just really want to have this thing. And so many people in the group were like, oh yeah, let me look at, and they went through their own ancestry accounts. And they were doing all this detective work, and they were able to actually find it and connect her and say, okay, here's the cemetery. Here's a picture of the gravesite here, and give her more information than I think she had before. And I thought that was so cool that so many people who didn't know her either were willing to jump in and say, here you go. Here's this person's story for you, because it means something to you. And so they did it just because. And I thought that was really awesome.
That, yeah. I mean, if I feel like I am living and getting to do my dream job every day. I mean, getting to do the research part is, I love it. Finding, making sure that because we want our facts to be facts, and we want it, like I said, we don't want our runners out looking for a needle in a haystack. We can't afford that.
Right.
We don't want you to have to like walk around and just to guess. And I mean, sometimes getting that information is harder than other times, but usually 9.5 times out of 10 we get it. Even if I'm like writing down directions on a napkin to get it into the computer, it's next to a tree, to a fence on the right side of the cemetery. I'm gonna do my very best to dig up the information. So,
well, one of the things I really like that you guys have instituted recently for the runners is asking us to put in the GPS coordinates when we do get to certain graves. And I like being able to do that, because whether I go back or whether somebody else goes back to that grave, now it'll be that much easier to be like, yep, here it is. It's right in this spot. So I do think that's really cool that you have us doing that now as runners.
And I've very much vocal, said this, that not to just take a picture of the headstone, but like take a picture of the headstone, but then like step back and take a picture of the landscaping, so that that is documented, so that, because having that picture, okay, well look, that's in the background, that that could help us in the future. And when I say the future, I'm thinking miles and miles and years ahead. I hope that 50, 100 years, somebody's looking for me. I mean, that's what I hope, is that that can, I mean, that's what we all hope. I would think, that somebody cares.
Yeah.
And so that, it makes it easier. It just, as time goes on, the information's there, and you're not on a scavenger hunt.
Right. Well, and like the one that I did last week, I knew I was in the right section. Part of the problem was they had recently mowed. And again, the flat graves, this is a problem. When they mow, all the grass goes right on top.
Yep.
So I was like sweeping off graves. So I knew I was close to it, but I wasn't quite there. But the nice thing when I did find it, and you can't tell in this picture because I purposely have this one cropped down, but there's another grave just below it that's very distinct. So one of the pictures that I sent back into you guys showed both of them together so that the next time somebody's out there, they know they're looking actually really for a space that's got like 2 actual markers in it. Whereas most of them at that cemetery is just one at a time, but for whatever reason, theirs is like one and then the other. So I was like, oh, well, that'll make it easier looking for it next time because I know I'm looking for 2 together that are separate. And it did help though that there was an original picture that showed me that it had the marble on it and stuff like that. So I knew kind of what it was supposed to look like, and I could ignore the ones that didn't have marble on them. So I was like, okay, but yeah, just and the grass cuttings. That's just because, like I said, those flat headstones, they collect the snow, they collect the grass, they collect the leaves.
Yep.
It's okay. I don't mind. I go through and I clear them off and I read everybody's name out loud anyway while I'm doing it. So
oh, that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah. I figure they all deserve to have their name spoken again at some point. So I just do it.
So the neighbor got flowered, but you visited with all of them close.
Within their little neighbors. Section. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I knew I was in the right spot. I had the map pulled up. I had everything. And I was like, I just needed to find it. And actually at one point I did stand up and I was like, after I cleared, I don't know how many headstones, I was like, Darlene, I need you to point me in the direction of your grave. And I turned around and it was right behind me. And so I found her.
I love that.
And I was able to, leave her flowers. And like I said, by the time I took that picture, I'd cleared all the grass off of it. So you could actually see the whole stone. And that way, whoever her loved one was that sent those flowers can see that it's all good and it's still in good shape. And yeah, it was good.
Great. I love that. And
yeah, sometimes they help you too.
They help you a lot.
Yes, I believe that. In fact, I laugh and say sometimes I think they're like sitting back laughing because like if sometimes like when they have trouble finding a runner, especially if it's in a very rural area, in the middle, and I always laugh and say, yeah, I think that they send us one just in the nick of time, I'm like, are they playing jokes on their loved ones, and I think they laugh and I don't know, it's fun. It's like I said, it's just rewarding and connecting people across the United States. And
that's the thing, yeah.
Spreading love one cemetery at a time. Like my parents always said, like, you should be, you're born in the wrong era. But it's
you were born exactly when you needed to be because we needed you now.
Yes. Oh my God, a t-shirt, spreading love one cemetery at a time.
Yeah. That's like,
I like it.
I know they were like, do y'all have a catchphrase or anything? And I'm like, no, not really. I was like, I just always kind of say, we're just spreading love one cemetery at a time. And they're like, well, that's it.
There's your phrase right there. Yeah, it's perfect. We need Bloombridge runner shirts now that say that so that we can wear them when we make our deliveries.
Me and I were talking about that not long ago. We need to make some t-shirts. We don't have any merch yet. We need to get some. I love a good merch stand. So I need to get on that.
I'll be the first one to buy one.
We'll send you. Talk about the dream. How great would that be? Like I don't know, Bloombridge runner. Not a uniform, but yeah.
We all had our shirts, and then when they see us in the cemetery, the employees think know we're there doing something legit, right, that we're not just like willy-nilly wandering through the cemetery. Because I did when I was making that last delivery, they were actually in the process of digging a new grave not far from where this one was. I think they kept looking over at me a couple of times and I'm like, I swear I'm here legitimately. I had flowers in my hand, so I'm sure they figured it out. But I was like, I think that would be cool to be able to show people that because I tell people about it all the time. I'll be like, oh yeah, I have to go make a flower delivery to a cemetery. And they're like, wait, what? I'm like, oh yeah, it's this great organization. It's called Bloombridge. And then I give them the little spiel and hope that they use it for their own loved ones.
It's, I just like, even you said, like, I can't remember if it was this year, last year, or even the year before. And I was thinking when I heard you say that, I'm like, holy cow.
Well, if this is 200 and you were on episode 20 something, I mean, that was back in 2020, 24?
No, 4. Is it 4? This is our
It's
fourth
been
year,
fourth
right?
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our 4-year anniversary will be October 8th. So
Yeah,
that's how long we've been doing this.
are in July. So, and I remember just like scrolling and like looking up podcasts that had like cemeteries in it, and I came across I told you, didn't I? And I was like, hey, can I come on?
Well, what's so funny about that is right before you had contacted me, I had been thinking about wanting to try and do something similar because I was going to all these, especially back in 2020 when I had more time to visit more cemeteries
Yeah.
because things were a little slower then. I was like, wouldn't it be great if there was a way that people could deliver flowers for other people? And then shortly after that, I get a message from you saying, hey, I'm starting this company. And I was like, this is exactly what I was just talking about wanting to do. And so it was meant to happen. But yeah, 4 years. That's how long it's been. Yeah. At this point, 4 years of
Hard
forming
work.
this. And when you guys first started and you were talking to us, you were only really right around you and maybe 2 or
Right.
3 states. And then
Yeah, and don't you remember how nervous I was? Oh my gosh. Like and like I remember having like all these stacks of paper, and like you had like written out all these questions for me. And oh my gosh, I just remember how nervous I was.
we
Well,
didn't
and
even
then-
prep for this one.
Oh,
And this one, and then we did it just audio, so you didn't have to worry about the whole being on camera thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And now look at you.
Yeah, I mean, like a not being technically too much thrown to the sharks. I'm kind of swimming, I'm in there now. I still got a long way to go and learn, but I am willing and looking forward to see what God has in store for the future, for sure. We've partnered with Find a Grave. And
very cool.
now we have a button on every memorial page. There's a little send flowers. I think they've changed it up, or maybe some say flower delivery, and then some say send flowers, or it maybe said send flowers in the beginning and now it says flower delivery. But it's just
so cool.
It's amazing. They did a great article around Memorial Day, back in May, where our runner is a veteran, and so is her dad. And our client is a veteran, and her dad was also, and he had passed. And so just really kind of cool how we had like 4 veterans doing, serving, help, honor. And so they wrote a cool and it necessarily wasn't, I mean, it was about what she was doing for Bloombridge, but we really wanted it to be about, our client and her father, and our runner and her father, because that was really cool.
So cool.
Getting to do the run, she took him with her to do it. Yeah, it was really, really special. And so yeah, and it's been a great, partnership. We get a lot of business from Find a Grave, and we get a lot of runners from Find a Grave, which is nice. Because I would say you'd probably agree, most of the people on Find a Grave, we all have that in common.
Right, exactly.
It's there for it, and the love for people, and the scavenger hunt for.
Well, chances are they're probably very familiar with the cemetery they're going to be delivering to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I lean on it a lot. I mean, like if I'm having trouble getting information, on a headstone, like if the cemetery doesn't have a number and there's nobody that I can't find it, after I've exhausted, most of my energy on it, I'll reach out to find it. Like if I'm like, okay, well, Susie, I can see that Susie took this picture, and I'll
Right.
reach out and sometimes I don't get an answer back, but a lot of times I do, and I'm like, hey, can you just, I, how long has it been since you took this photograph? Like, can you help me? Like, is can you try to remember anything that would help us? And again, communication. If you just tell people what you need and ask, they're usually willing to help you. So
Yeah. Yeah, I've had some good experiences with Find a Grave people when I've done research for the show. And sometimes I've reached out to, especially if it's a family member, and I'm researching somebody else, it's nice to be able to reach out to a descendant and say,
Hmm.
can you tell me more? And yeah, every once in a while you don't get a response back, but a lot of times they're eager to talk about that or tell you what they remember or whatever, because and like Dianne said, for some of them, they're in those specific cemeteries all the time anyway, so they usually know the layout pretty well and
yeah.
can imagine giving you some good landmarks and stuff to be like, okay, we're going to tell our runner to do this and look for this.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, it's great. So we will link. Well, actually, we already have a link for Bloombridge on our homepage for the website. It's been there ever since Bloombridge started, so you can find all their information through that link. I'll put it in our show notes today too. But if you want to order flowers and have them delivered, you can do that. Or there's also links in there if you're interested in becoming a runner and helping out there. I know in certain areas there's more runners than others. So do you have any states right now where you're like really in need of even more runners than what you currently have that you can think of?
Alaska. We got some good runners in Alaska, but I feel like Alaska is just because it's so remote. Like
Mm-hmm.
and
And Alaska has some cool cemeteries. Just in case our Alaskan listeners haven't visited, you guys have some great cemeteries out there. So
honestly, really anywhere you are, because there's no way for me to like I'm sitting here in my head thinking, well, we get a lot of orders in California, but we get a lot of orders in Philadelphia too. You know what I mean?
true.
It's we get New York. Really,
Anywhere.
if you are interested in wanting to be a runner and being a part of the Bloombridge team, then sign up. As long as you have a valid driver's license and valid insurance, you can be a runner. And it may not be. I don't know that I would even call it a part-time job right now. But that's what we're going towards. We're getting bigger every day. Really, day we are one more, two more orders more than we did the day before. So, it's
It's growing.
It's growing. Yeah. And so, and what, you never know, like one thing may lead to another. And so,
Right.
and I feel like we pay pretty well.
I think so.
25 per delivery, and we try not to send you, over 20-30 miles outside of, I would maybe even closer than that.
I was going to say most of mine are like within 15 miles or so.
But we will pay overage, and our clients, I would say 9.5 times out of 10 leave a tip.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's we try to make it, we want to be fair to everybody. Like we do. I love that we're doing something good. We're creating jobs. We're helping people. It's all the good things,
Right.
for sure. So, yeah, and I'll get Justin to get me a code for y'all, like a specific code, like a discount code for y'all.
Perfect.
But if y'all, CS, all lowercase, CS10 is also a discount code I can give you. But I'll get Justin to send me one like that y'all can put up just for you.
That would be great.
Like, yeah, and I'm sorry that I didn't think about it before I came on.
Because you don't have a million other things to think about right now.
No, not at all.
Tabs open in this brain of mine. It is constantly going. Like, I had such a strange night sleep last night. Like, I slept really hard, but I also, like, when I woke up, I felt rested, but I also felt like my brain just stayed on the entire night. Like,
Probably did.
I was gonna say it probably never did really shut down. Like, you were probably, it was in your dreams or something, like running through everything that you've got going on. Again, you're running this whole business. You have people helping you. It's not like you're completely on your own, but it's
still
you are helping. I mean, like, everybody. Yeah, it is a team effort. I mean, it takes a village, right? Like, I told somebody the other day, I was like, and I promise I'm not the village idiot. I might seem like it some days, but I'm not. But it does. It takes a village, and it's absolutely. I mean, even what we're doing just proves that nobody in this world has gotten anywhere without somebody else.
Very true.
And I mean, I believe that with all of my heart. Like, I am so grateful. And when I say this, like, I thank God every night that He has allowed me to be able to do this, and the people that I have around myself, just for my own, like, personal growth. But Bloombridge, I mean, Bloombridge would not be Bloombridge if it weren't for you and Jeremy and Lulu and Sarah in Texas. And it's the truth, though. I mean, you're never going to hear me take the glory or the I'm just not, because it's not me. It's all of us. I mean, this would have, I mean, God gave me the idea, but it would have never become a thing without my partners and our runners and our clients, and I mean, and those people that we're delivering to. I mean, like, it's what we all, it connects everybody in a way, and because it's all it's the one thing we all have in common. We're gonna all pass, and we've all lost somebody, and that in itself is a really beautiful thing that you can't touch that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And that right there for me is why that's my why. So,
well, and this is, you said at the beginning, I mean, yes, you guys are delivering across the US, all 50 states. You've got people making orders from around the world, but there's heart in everything that happens. It's not this like robotic, automatic thing to just send out flowers because somebody put in an order. This is, there's heart on your end when you guys are putting these bouquets together, which these arrangements are always so beautiful. And there's heart from those of us who are delivering for the people that we don't even know, we've never met, and it's just, it's all about love and bringing everybody together, and it's humanity. It's not just this so much of our world is automated now, and like, and yes, it's convenient sometimes, like when I can go onto Amazon and order, an outfit real quick or whatever. That's great. It's at my door in 2 days. But this is better because this is a personal thing, and it's personal from the very beginning when you place an order to when the order gets delivered, and all the steps in between for everything you guys are doing there on your end. Like I said, every flower, every bouquet is made with love. And I know it is when you get them, because they're just perfect.
Well, thank you. And it is, it's and it's convenient. I don't sometimes I don't feel like I don't deserve to get to do this. And I'm telling you, I'm so grateful, and I won't ever take it for granted, ever. Because I know how hard I've worked, And I owe that to my partner and my mentor, Huey. I've touched every single part of this business, and I don't know that I would, because I'm human, right? Like I would like to think that I wouldn't feel that way if I hadn't, but I know in my heart that the reason I feel that way is because he has really mentored me. I don't know that I've ever even told him that, really. I guess if he listens to this,
Guess what now?
yeah, but that's the truth. And I would tell that to any. I hope that one day, I meet somebody who is trying to start a business, and I see fit that I have the energy to be able to help them, like he helped me and helped Bloombridge, and it's that's pretty cool, And so so we're just gonna keep on trucking, and hopefully, all the hard work's gonna pay off in the end, and
Oh, it will. I
and
mean, it already is in so many, maybe
Yeah.
not financially yet, but in so many other ways.
yeah, absolutely.
And it will financially.
I hope so. And then we can just my prayer is that we can be like, what is it? Is it Tom's, that the shoes? Yeah, that
Tom's.
they give a free pair. That is my dream for Bloombridge, that for every subscription that we sell, we would be able to put, either a headstone at and someone who's been less fortunate that didn't get a proper, shouldn't say proper burial. What I mean is like that didn't have a headstone, or that we can put flowers there. I mean, that is my dream, is that we will be able to provide a mark for somebody, because everybody, I don't care who you are, I don't care how much money you have or how little you have, it is, everybody on this planet deserves that. And so that is even if it was just a wall with plaques on it, right? I mean, like, I don't know what God has in store, but
just some way to memorialize everybody.
Yeah, that's my dream for Bloombridge, that we would be able to do that and sponsor that. And so hopefully, we'll
you just voiced it, so it will be. You just put it out there.
I hope so. So I'm so glad I got to come on here and talk. I think I need to talk about Bloombridge too, like I don't like, because I'm always so busy and in it. And when you're in it, sometimes you just are like, you're just going through the
motions.
Yeah. And I've had a hard last 3 or 4 weeks, man. Like I was like, life is just really handing it to me right now. It's been nice to just stop and remember my why. So thank you for that.
Good. I'm so glad.
Oh, anytime. We're happy to help you remember the why, because
I gotta get y'all down here.
I know. Well, my husband and I were talking about possibly going to Memphis in February, which would be closer to you.
Yeah.
So
it's probably 5 hours for me, but it's not that far. I mean, I could,
maybe there's a halfway point we can,
yeah, especially, since I moved or whatever. But yeah, I like Memphis. What would you be going for?
Well, he's going for a pinball related thing.
Okay.
And then I said, well, I should just go with, because he said, if I go, it would be around Valentine's Day. And we've never really celebrated Valentine's Day anyway. It's just not either one of our things. But I was like, well, maybe I should go with you. Cause I was like, wait, I don't have kids in school anymore. I don't have to I was like, I should go with you. And he's like, well, what would you do? And I'm like, there's cemeteries there that I want to see.
Race there.
Yes, there's so much other history and music and all. I mean, it's Memphis. Yeah. So I'll let you know.
Jennie, y'all got to get to New Orleans.
Oh, New Orleans is so on the bucket list. There's so much I want to do.
God, I'm about 45 minutes from there. 45. Okay. So y'all need to plan a girls trip.
We will.
And we'll go do, the cemeteries there are incredible. I know. Did I tell you that we delivered to Marie Laveau?
Do you really?
Yeah, she's the Voodoo Queen.
Yeah.
Yes.
This this girl called me, and she's our client, and she says, well, actually, no, she just made the order, and I saw that it was Marie Laveau. I called her. Well, because I was like, I've got to know more about this. Like, I got to know why she's sending Maria Laveau flowers, like that. It just, because I was like, I'm going to be the runner. And before I New Orleans, I called Lulu and I was like, don't you give that to anybody. Like, I want it. And so I called her, and she goes on to tell. So Maria Laveau was the queen of voodoo. That's what they, I don't know, familiar with her or, okay.
I am. I don't know how much Dianne knows.
I am.
She cast love spells and all that. And
right.
So this girl, our client, I keep saying this girl, but our client wanted us to send flowers because she was in love with this man, and they had been seeing each other and they weren't together anymore, and she just didn't really know how to like get through to him, and she just thought maybe she had lived in New Orleans a little while. She wasn't from there, but she had lived there, and so accustomed to the
magic.
culture. Yeah. So I said, and she had just picked a solid pink arrangement, and so which was fine. It's beautiful, but I called her and I said, well, now that you've told me, the story, I was like, my brain is like exploding over here. I'm like a hopeless romantic, but two, I'm an artist, and and so my creativity, I'm like, this is going to New Orleans. It can't just be pink, And so I said, what if I use the pink and then do a different color for every like type of love, like friendship and intimate love, and then joy, and so anyway, we came up with these colors, and I researched it, and so I put each one in, and she was like, and I was like, this will be custom for you, for her. And so I went, and Richard went with me, and we had to buy a ticket to the cemetery and wait in line. And
I was gonna say, I know that one's heavily like
it's a lot of traffic, and so but it was so cool, and she and the guy got back together.
Oh, yay! So it was great.
I was like, I am going to stay in touch with you. Like, I have got to know, how this ends. And so,
that is so cool.
And it was so much fun. I was like, this is amazing. I love it when we get to do fun stuff like that. It's all fun, but this was like,
something very unique. It's something you wouldn't do for,
It was fun.
You're not taking flowers to everybody's graves in hopes that it's going to put a relationship back together. So.
Right. I thought that was pretty cool. That was a good one.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, I'm so glad you could take some time tonight, take a breather,
yes,
and chat with us. And yes, we will definitely work on planning that girls' trip down so we can actually see you. I know you've been up here. Now I need to go down there. So
you just have to bring me. Maybe you can sneak me food on the plane from.
Maybe I can at least get the margarita mix.
La Loma, isn't it?
Yes, La Loma. That's where we had lunch.
Chili
here.
Things, the green chili. I can't even talk about it. My mouth starts watering. I fly out there just to eat those. They're so good.
Yes.
We recreated them too at home. They I mean, obviously they weren't the real thing, but they were pretty close to it. Yeah, it was pretty close. Oh my goodness, those things are so good. That's my favorite place in Denver.
It is a fun place, and you know what? Where it's at, because we went to the downtown one. It's not hard to get to or anything. So, yeah. It's right over by the Brown Palace. All the good stuff down there.
Nice.
Yeah. So yes, we'll make time to come down. We both of us have been saying we need to go to Louisiana anyway, because there's so many graves down there that we really want to see, in cemeteries and all of that. And we keep talking about them.
So fishing, I'll take y'all fishing, and we could like go on maybe an alligator tour, like an airboat. Like,
that would be fun.
You just let me know when you're coming, and I will. We will fish and see and go to cemeteries.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah, definitely something to look forward to. Oh,
Yeah.
that's gonna be so much fun.
I was going to say,
Crabs.
Diane's a fisher too, so it'll be great.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that would be fun.
So great. It's like one of my favorite things. It's where it's like I can go and do that, and my brain stops.
Because you're casting or whatever,
Yeah,
you're not doing anything else. You're
catching
just
fish. Yep,
Mhm.
and that's why I love it. I absolutely.
Peace.
Yep.
Well, Kristen, thank you so much. Again,
You.
folks, we will have, if you go to our website, there's already a Bloombridge link there. I'll put it in the show notes here. And we'll get that code available too. So anybody who wants to place an order through Bloombridge, you get a little bit of a discount, but it's so worth it. If you want to send flowers or if you want to be a runner, either way, or both, you could do both. Maybe you need to send flowers, but you also want to be a runner. You
Have that. We have
totally
a
do
lot.
both.
We do. We have a lot of clients that have become runners.
I love it. So definitely look up Bloombridge. I'll post some more of these photos like I have here so folks can see them if you weren't following us along on YouTube, but you can see some of the deliveries I've made. See how gorgeous these flower arrangements are.
They are. Yeah, so pretty.
Yeah. They're so pretty and so easy to deliver because the way you package them and put them, it's so easy to deliver. The one behind Diane, I was actually able to put it in the little
Base.
flower holder vase that was actually on the grave itself. But the other ones where I've just put it in the ground, I mean, the little stakes that come with it goes right into the ground. It's so easy.
That's all.
Yeah. And it just makes, like I said, it gives me time to go and tidy up the graves and whatever, but have that moment of reflection with whoever I'm leaving the flowers with. And it's great. So thank you, Kristen, for everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
We thank you for taking time to join us today for this ordinary, extraordinary chat. To learn more about today's discussion, please visit our website, theordinaryextraordinarycemetery.com, where you will find additional links in our show notes. And if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to give us a like and subscribe to our channel, The Ordinary Extraordinary Cemetery Podcast. This really helps makes us more visible to others on YouTube who may also enjoy our podcast.
And please don't forget to visit us on social media, where we share all kinds of cemetery photos, quotes, tidbits, and more. We are on Facebook and Instagram at Ordinary Extraordinary Cemetery, and on X at OrdExtraCem. So OrdExtraCem. If you enjoyed this or any of our episodes, please consider leaving a 5-star review and a comment on Apple's podcast, Spotify, or directly on our website. You can also leave those same comments on YouTube. Your positive reviews and enthusiasm for our show help others who love cemeteries and history to discover us and all of our ordinary, extraordinary stories. And if you're feeling extra generous and want to help support the podcast in a financial way, you can now buy Diane and I a cup of coffee, either through YouTube or on our website. Simply click on the coffee cup icon and it will allow you to make a donation.
Until we meet again.